So today we are looking at main verbs and helping verbs. So last week we looked at action verbs and linking verbs, right? We looked at the verbs that are doing an action and then the linking verbs that are connecting the subject to a noun, and a predicate, right? Okay. Today we are looking at main verbs and helping verbs. So let's read our information box at the top. Okay, so everyone look at the top of page 83. It says, sometimes a complete action verb has more than one word. The main verb tells the action of the subject. The helping verb helps the main verb. The helping verb always comes before the main verb in a sentence. The complete verb includes the helping and the main verb, but not any extra words between. Okay? So let's look at this example. The first basketball players would throw the ball into peach baskets. So look at the simple subject. It's players, right? We're talking about players. The helping verb and the action verb. So here, the helping verb is the word would, okay? And the action, or the main verb, is, what is it? Who can look and see? Throw, okay? Throw is the main verb. It's the main action that is happening in our sentence, okay? And the word would helps because it is telling us that they would do it. And it tells us kind of like a time frame and gives us a better understanding of the sentence. Hey guys, I see a lot of you playing with different things, messing with stuff in your lap or your desk. Put everything away and look at your paper, please, or look up at me. Thank you. So, let's look at verbs used as helping verbs, that orange box. Am, is, are, was, were, will, have, has, had, does, do, did, would, could, should. Again, a lot of these kind of tell us a time frame, right? I am doing this. He is doing this. We are doing this, right? It kind of helps us see a time frame, or there was, there were, or there will. Kind of tells us if it already happened or if it will happen, right? Does that make sense? So do you guys see how that works? If we say I have a ball, that means I have it right now, right? If I say she has the ball, that means she has it. If I said I had the ball, I used to have it, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Sometimes adverbs such as unusual or usually, often, sometimes, also, even, or not come between the main verb and the helping verb. These words also tell about the action of the main verb and may change the meaning of the sentence. So, geese will usually fly south in September. So, here is where you have to be careful, okay? The word usually is in that sentence between our helping verb and our main verb. But it is an adverb. We don't need our adverbs, okay? Adverbs you can think of as adding to the verb, okay? Adverb, adding to the verb, okay? Because it's not a verb, but it's giving us some more specific information for our sentence, okay? If I said that geese will sometimes fly south in September, that changes the meaning from saying geese will usually fly south, right? So that change in the adverb changed the meaning of my sentence, right? But it's not a part of our verb. So we have to make sure we know to pull those out. So let's look at how they diagram that sentence. Their simple subject is still geese, but their verbs are will, fly. They did not put usually, right? We do not put that word between our verbs. Do you guys see that? Let's read our next example. They do not enjoy the cold winters in the north. So they do enjoy. Even though that changes our sentence, right? Our verbs are do and enjoy. We do not put the word not in there because that's an adverb. Does that make sense? They're not wanting our adverbs, they're just wanting our verbs. Okay? Are we good? Okay, let's do our guided practice. So let's look at number 1. Dr. James Naismith did invent basketball in 1891. What is my simple subject? Because we need to underline our simple subject once and underline our complete verb twice. So what is my subject, Samara? Good. Dr. James Naismith. That whole thing is our simple verb. Okay, because that's his whole name. Dr. James, or simple subject, sorry. Dr. James Naismith. Who can see what our verbs are? Our complete verb. Lillian?
Did and invent.
Good. Did invent. So you need to underline that twice. Did invent. We don't have any adverbs in that sentence. Now look at number 2. He had written 13 rules for the new game. So what is my simple subject here, Boyleon? I'm sorry? He. Good. And what are my verbs, Grace? Had written. Good. Had written. Number 3. Young men could play the games inside during the cold winter. Sui, what is my subject? My simple subject. It's just men. Okay, so underline just the word men because our simple subject is our main subject. Young is describing it. It's an adjective, okay? So we just need to underline men. Good job. Now, Joseph, what is my verbs in this sentence? Number 3. Could play. Good. You need to underline could play twice. Dr. Naismith had devised the most popular indoor sport of all time. Mary, what is my subject?
Dr. Naismith.
Dr. Naismith, good. And Lincoln, what is my verb? Or my verbs? For number 4. Had devised, good. Good. Now we have a new set of instructions, so we need to read it. Underline the simple subject once and the complete verb twice in the blank. Write the word that is between the helping verb and the main verb. So it's the same thing, but they're telling us that there's an adverb, right? So we need to look and see what that is. Good athletes will usually practice faithfully. So what is my simple subject, Boyleon?
Usually.
No, my simple subject. We'll get to that. But what's my simple subject?
Athletes.
Athletes. Good. So you need to underline athletes once. What are my verbs, Ben? Will practice. You need to underline will twice and practice twice. Okay? Now, this is where we take our adverb and we write it on the line. We don't underline it, we write it on the line. And like Boyleon said, our adverb is usually. Okay? So write usually on that line. Okay, now it says to diagram the simple subject and complete verb for sentence 5. Remember to include the helping verb and the main verb. So we're diagramming that sentence that we just did. So good athletes will usually practice faithfully. So what did we say our subject was? Mary? Athletes. So they gave us this diagram, right? Athletes goes right here. Athletes. Now, over here is where we put our main verb and our helping verb, but we do not put the adverb, okay? So we said our verbs were will and practice, right? So we did not put usually in there, okay? Does this make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. Good. When you get done with that, turn it over and look at the back. So for 1 through 6, you are doing what we did on the front, where you're underlining the subject once and the verbs twice. Well, you know that I'll tell you in these, you don't have any adverbs, okay? But numbers 7 through 11, they tell us we're going to have adverbs, right? So you still underline your subject once and your verbs twice. Make sure you do that. Some of you are not doing all of your directions when you do your papers. So make sure you underline the subject once and the verbs twice. And then you write the adverb on the end. These questions are 3 points apiece. Make sure you follow all of the directions, okay? All right. Now, then you are diagramming these 2 sentences. It might help you if it doesn't say you have to underline the subject and the verbs, but it might help you to do that before you diagram it, right? If you already have it underlined, then you know exactly what goes on the lines. Make sense? So it doesn't say you have to, but it might help you to do that, okay? Then let's do the apply and listen right now, okay? So let's just do that now. So you're going to listen to a thing I read, and then we're going to go from there, okay? So make sure you listen to this paragraph. Since Augusta Jones moved into the house next door to mine, Mimosa Street has changed. I had never met anyone like her, and I don't think Mimosa Street will ever be the same. So, I'm going to say it 1 or 2 more times. You are listening to see what helping verbs you hear. Okay? Remember, there is a list of helping verbs on the front. So what I want you to do is look at the front, and you see that orange chart at the top?
Yes.
I want you to stay on page 93 for a second. Go to page 93. Or 93, not 93, 83. Sorry, 83. Sorry, 83. And I want you to stay there. I'm going to read it. When you hear one of the words on that list, don't flip it over and write it. Circle it so then you know which ones to write down. Okay? So I'm going to say it again. So make sure you're ready to circle when you see one, okay? Or when you hear one. Since Augusta Jones moved into the house next door to mine, Mimosa Street has changed. I had never met anyone like her, and I do not think Mimosa Street will ever be the same. Okay? Remember, when you find a verb, a helping verb, you circle it on the front so you know what ones to write on the back. Okay? I'm going to read it one more time. Since Augusta Jones has moved into the house next door to mine, Mimosa Street has changed. I had never met anyone like her, and I do not think Mimosa Street will ever be the same. Okay? All right. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 4, and they only ask you to write 3. Okay? All right. So go ahead and get started. Make sure your name is on page 84 so that when you turn it in, your name is on the side that I'm grading, okay? Because you are turning this in today.